Very important, Jamaica. Very important. Very, very important. We share it on our statuses for persons to know that this is our leader, this is our prime minister, and we're going to protect him. Already there are some discrepancies happening with the electoral system. There are some discrepancies happening with the electoral system. And Peter Bunting is speaking about them tonight. Listen to what Peter Bunting had to say, Jamaica.
The People's National Party wishes to draw attention to some troubling changes in the arrangements for election day workers, police, and the military who vote tomorrow, Friday, August 29th, 2025. It is normal for election day workers, members of the JCF and the JDF to cast their ballots ahead of the general elections. The party has received reports that a number of police officers assigned to non-geographic formations, for example, chaplaincy, narcotics, and the National Intelligence Bureau, have had their traditional polling stations changed to Kingston, despite having previously voted in rural parishes across the island for their entire careers. This arrangement means, for example, that officers who have consistently voted in places like St. James and Manchester must now travel to Kingston in order to exercise their constitutional right to vote. Many may be unaware of this change, and failure to pick this up early could result in their disenfranchisement. The PNP finds this deeply troubling. Those who risk their lives daily to serve and protect should not face unnecessary obstacles to cast their vote. We urge the Electoral Office of Jamaica and the Jamaica Constabulary Force to clarify the situation immediately and to ensure that affected personnel are properly informed and that measures are implemented to prevent their disenfranchisement. The integrity of Jamaica's electoral system must be safeguarded at all times. The PNP stands firmly in defense of free, fair, and accessible elections, where every eligible voter has a fair chance to participate without confusion, inconvenience, or undue hardship.
Yes, Jamaica. Now let us invite Peter Murcott Bunting and Mr. Steve Mcgregor to join us now. Mr. Bunting, good night, sir.
Good evening to you, Andre, and good evening to your listeners. I'm just coming out of South Manchester where my reception wasn't so good. So I'm glad you weren't ready for me exactly at 7:30. But
Yes.
I'm good now. I'm back in Wi-Fi range.
Awesome.
I think I
Yeah,
see
I
Steve
am here
coming
also.
on.
Okay. SSP McGregor.
I am right here with the big boss. I am here.
Gentlemen, good night and welcome to PDTV News Jamaica. Mr. Bunting, you explained to the country today the discrepancies that are happening with the police. Can you echo them and let Jamaica know, or ball out tonight to let Jamaica know, or to tell the EOJ what you're dissatisfied about already?
Well, I've been picking up over the last week or so a number of police officers who have contacted me, primarily, of course, from Manchester, my whole constituency in central Manchester and now South Manchester, to say that they've spent their careers or sometimes the last 25 years or so working in Manchester. They've been voting in Manchester for every election since 2002. And
Yes.
yet, this election, when they go on the EOJ app to check where they're to vote,
Yes.
suddenly they realize there's now to vote in Kingston,
Mm.
various points in Kingston. One such person works with the narcotics division in Manchester. Another one works with the chaplaincy. A third works with the National Intelligence Bureau, and this is very troubling. Had hoped I reached out before I did a release today. I had contacted the Commissioner of Police yesterday morning. I also asked our representatives on the ECJ to speak to the Director of Elections
Yes.
because this could cause a whole heap of inconvenience and potential disenfranchisement to police officers tomorrow. I don't at this point know how widespread it is,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that, other MPs from other constituencies from as far as St. James, other candidates from as far as St. James and Hanover are
Yes.
telling me they have voters, police voters with similar
Complaint.
challenges. I don't know if has there, Steve, I don't, you're in town. I've been out
Well,
of signal for most of the day. Has there been any
in the corporate
communication from
area,
the JCF?
in the corporate area, it is not that bad. There are some that would have to go to St. Thomas. That is the furthest. But the distance that they will have to travel is not as bad as the rural areas. I'm hearing the same thing you're echoing from St. Mary, St. Anne. I've done some due diligence, and it is really troubling. I've never seen it like this, and I served 41 years in the JCF, and I don't know what went wrong with the arrangement for this time, but I'm getting a lot of pushback from the officers. But what is good though is that a lot of them are saying, "Don't care how far they put us to vote, we're going to vote." I
Mm.
mean, that is good coming from a lot of them. And I've canvassed a lot. I've canvassed 91 officers that would cast their vote in my constituency. And they are really upbeat. They are going to find time. So I hope that the JCF will give them the time to vote. The senior officers, again,
Ye-
a lot of them were announced to be promoted. I think it will be published tomorrow again. Over my 41 years, I've never seen a promotion being made the day before that the officers will vote. But I'm happy for them
Wait,
because
wait,
a lot of them are my colleagues, the senior officers from deputy superintendent to superintendent. A lot of them I know. I've been waiting for some time. But, it is kind of, unique to see officers being promoted the day before they cast their vote. But I
Mr.
know they are energized.
McGregor, are you saying tonight that at the day the police are to vote, there'll be a list of promotions gazetted tomorrow?
Well, that's what I understand.
Mighty God. Peter Bunting, there is a list of things that the PNP wishes to do to this for the security forces. Yourself and Mr. McGregor will be very crucial in the security apparatus for the successive government. Talk to the police tonight.
Of benefits for them when the PNP comes to office. The one that applies not just to them but across the board will be no tax on income up to 3.5 million. So every single police and soldier, and in fact all public servants, private sector employees will have no income tax up to 3.5. That will be the new tax-free threshold. And in addition to that, there will be no tax on overtime pay for those earning in total less than $6 million.
Mm.
So that is a huge benefit that I really think the police officers and the soldiers and the civil servants I have interacted with, they really are looking forward to that. But there are some others that are more targeted at
Yes.
police officers and security forces. I have long held that this distinction between those who die in service versus on the job is an artificial distinction.
Mm.
Right now, if you are killed in, on duty, you get a much higher, your family, I should say, gets a much higher lump sum compensation than
Yes.
if you are off duty, but you are still in the service. And I
Yes.
think that's, in a sense, artificial because oftentimes it is the stresses of the job that cause persons to succumb to a stroke, a heart attack that often get they get hypertension, diabetes. It
So
comes
you,
the
so you
police.
want so you want to raise that insurance to about $20 million per service personnel.
That's correct in the first instance, and we want to keep that under annual review so that it's a meaningful help to their families. Remember, they might leave children that are still not past the worst, still have school ahead of them, and so on. So
Mm.
we want to ensure that those who have risked their lives, put their lives and their health on the line, are covered. We also know that the stresses of the job. I have met police officers when I was minister. One in particular who told me that he was a highway patrol officer, and
Yes.
he was often the first responder on some very gruesome motor vehicle accidents, and
Yes.
it really traumatized him. And we want to ensure that persons like that have adequate psychological support.
Mm-hmm.
They have full health coverage for whatever they need.
Yes.
Again, as I said, you know, hypertension, diabetes, end stage renal, those are some of the things that I have seen disproportionately affect our police officers and security forces. So they
Yes.
need a blue chip health insurance coverage.
Mm.
We're also talking about scholarships to assist those who want to qualify for promotions.
Yes.
And very important, something I had done when I was first Minister of National Security and
Yes.
I will reinstate, and that was to give priority approval for
Wow.
private firearm licenses to police, soldiers, a firearm to go out there and face down some of the most vicious criminals while
Mm.
he's on duty, and then he has to surrender the firearm and go home. In some cases, unarmed. Some police officers might have keep and care weapons, but we
Yes.
believe that everyone should be entitled to a private firearm.
Mm-hmm.
So because when they come off duty, the criminal threat to them doesn't. They don't come off duty at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Not every police officer has their own motor vehicle, so they may have to encounter some of those same criminals at the transport center in public transport and so on. So we believe that there must be not just priority approval, but it must be expedited approval.
But this is not just limited to the police. You're talking about soldiers as well.
Police, soldiers, correctional officers, all those who, due to the nature of their jobs, may put them
Correctional
at
Oh,
an undue risk or an
mm,
elevated risk. And of
absolutely.
course, we are also finally what I want to mention is just giving them priority in
Housing.
the various housing units, the rent to own and so on. So there's a full suite of benefits that I think police officers and the security forces generally have been responding to quite
Yes.
well.
And if I might just add, uh,
Yes. Yes, Mr. McGregor. Mr. McGregor got booted out.
Sounds like his connection.
Mhm.
His co- Steve, we're not hearing you.
What? So, Mr. Bunting,
Mhm.
overall, from you drop the three from the PNP drop the 3.5. A lot more police have been reaching out to you, haven't they?
They're very excited. They're very excited. When you look at particularly the rank and file officers, those who would be represented by the Police Federation. So from constable, corporal, sergeant, inspector,
Mm-hmm.
they are excited because most of them would end up paying no income tax at all.
Mm,
And neither on their base nor on their overtime. So yes, we will still have, some of these more senior officers, the 45 that were promoted, that Steve spoke to, that are being promoted, they will still be in a taxable position. The commissioner and the deputy commissioners and the assistant commissioners, yes, they will still pay income tax, but the constables, the corporals, the sergeants, and even the inspectors will benefit greatly
mm,
from the PNP's approach to income tax.
awesome.
Yes, and I just want to add, and what Comrade Bunting is saying generally is that we need a sufficiently motivated police force to do the job at hand in trying to stake claim for the minimal decrease in murders. And we have to commend the security forces for that because it's all they're doing. But it doesn't stop there. Because if you remember when the JCF announced the reduction in murder, there was an uptick in mass shootings. And mass shootings come from organized crime, gang
Yes,
related activity. So when we take power, we're not going to rest on our laurels with that. We're going to ensure that we motivate the police in a way that they can continue on this trend so we can deal with the fear of crime. Because the fear of crime is still high. In
yes,
the constituency that I represent, there is a zones of special operation right now. It is not even being properly manned. Every now and then you might see some soldiers and some police, but there are blockages that the police and soldiers put up. And if you tell the citizens from parade guards that you're going to move these blockages, they will say no, because they're still fearful that there might be a reprisal shooting or a kind of drive-by shooting. So it tells you that the fear of crime is still there. So we are going to implement social intervention strategies to mitigate this kind of fear of crime. And we're also going to empower the community and security arm. They have always been asking for some kind of funding so they can pioneer these social interventions within the community, the youth clubs, the curfew program that is going on in Denham Town, all of these kind of programs that are not going on right now within
yes.
the Zozo setting. So we will put all of this in place, and you don't want a better conduit than a Steve Mcgregor working alongside a Peter Bunting to show a difference in managing crime and violence in our country. Yes.
Mm, interesting. So, Mr. McGregor, so you're telling me today, tonight, and Jamaica that the police is ready for the golden train.
Well, they are there. As I said, I've been doing some canvassing with my constituents as it relates to police, and every one of them that I spoke to, they are ready. And they are going to vote wherever. I would want to predict that we might get the greatest turnout of police voters ever in our
Mm,
country tomorrow. Yes.
the greatest story.
Amidst all the challenges that they're having, they are going to make an effort. So I would hope that the hierarchy will give them all the assistance that they need to vote. And with the electoral office, if they don't get to vote tomorrow, something is put in place so that they can exercise their franchises
No,
on
Steve,
Wednesday.
Steve,
Yes,
I have to correct you there as a
yes,
former commissioner, electoral commissioner.
yeah.
There, the special voters, the EOJ workers, the police, and the military, if they don't vote tomorrow, they
They
cannot
can't vote.
vote next
Well,
week
I know
because
that
their
too
names have been extracted
from the
from
original list.
from the
Yes,
voters list. And I think
yes,
I have to check, but I believe it would require a change in the law right now, and there's no parliament to facilitate that. So we have to make every effort
Yes,
to get them to vote tomorrow, or we don't
well,
want them to be disenfranchised. I was
yes,
really hoping, and I can't, as I said, as I said to Andre earlier, I've been in the field in South Manchester, a bit out of range of a bit out of contact. But did the police high command or the ECJ
Check this.
make any uh, media release to say how they would respond to this situation? Did you hear
Well,
anybody or
I
anything?
have not seen anything. I didn't hear anything. Well, I've been in my constituency the whole day, so it might have passed me. But I would think that I
So,
would have gotten some
right,
communication from my networking system, but I've not seen or heard anything.
yes. So what you want to say to the law enforcers tonight as they go to the polls, Mr. Bunting and Mr.
You
Well,
wanna go first, Chief? Yes.
yes. Let, I want to say no, as I did in the economic debate on
And you were
Tuesday.
very you I must say you were very excellent in the economic debate. You were solid, you
That's
were sharp, you were direct, you were articulate, you were filled with precision, and you were a whip that night. I must say to you, Peter Murcott Bunting. I was
And that's
very
why we're two love ahead now. We're two love ahead now. Yes, we're two love ahead.
and
yes. Thank you. But as I said, then the PNP is under Mark Golding is not coming to office to manage people's suffering. We're
yes,
coming to lead a social revolution. The working class and the middle class have been hollowed out by a generation of belt tightening, various austerity programs, IMF programs, etc. And they've always been told that their time is not now. Well, time come for the working people and the middle class. It shouldn't be that a young professional with a master's degree, with a reasonable job in a ministry at 30 something years old cannot afford rather to buy a home, cannot afford to
yes,
drive a reliable car. This is something that we believe has to be corrected. We don't want all our best or many of our best teachers, nurses, doctors, public servants, even business persons and entrepreneurs to feel they have to seek their fortune overseas. I know I have seen my in my own family. My wife is a teacher, and
yes,
she tells me how many of her colleagues migrate every year. And I see it impacting even my own son, who's
yes,
one of his best teachers. I
mm,
mean, somebody who was superb, went above and beyond the call of duty, but couldn't sacrifice himself anymore when faced with very attractive offers. He's now teaching in North Carolina.
mm,
And so we don't want that to happen, or young people or young professionals to all
yes,
have this end up seeking their fortunes abroad, and the only
mhm,
benefit we might get might be some remittances for a few years. We
yes,
want to create an environment where they can do well, where they can thrive, where education can be a bridge to move your children to the next level, the
mm,
next socioeconomic status in life, so that no matter how humble the start might be, you know that even if you can't make it to give them a big house, but you can give them a great education, a
yes,
great start in life, so that
yes,
they can make it on their own. And that's the sort of social revolution we're talking about. What the GLP try to scoff or minimize at the 3.5. We know how we are going to fund it, and
yes,
we're going to do it in the next fiscal year. That
yes,
will relieve a whole hundreds of thousands of people from income tax.
yes,
That is going to transform the lives of so many. That's going to rebuild the middle class. And there will be a linkage. There will be economic linkages and benefits, because if you have more disposable income, you're going to spend more at the shop, you're going to spend more at the beauty salon, you're going to spend more on education, maybe extra lessons. So there'll be
Yes.
linkages right to the economy, and there'll be a multiplier effect. So we're very excited about that. We know that it's going to require a overhaul,
Yes.
root and branch overhaul
Yes.
of the budget. But a budget is a statement of priorities. People will be electing the PNP because they want a different set of priorities. The GLP's priorities is prosperity for them and their cronies. The PNP puts people first, puts people at the center of all our policies and programs.
Amen. Mr. McGregor, talk to your
Well, I don't have to be long because my comrade security chief has said it. But listen, at the last debate, we saw what the government has to offer for a minister of finance, and you saw what we will put in place. Jamaica, you make a choice. You saw what took place the other night, and it was clear to see that
mm,
person that they have offering as the minister of health. You
mhm,
see who we have a Dr. Dawes. Tonight, you will see what we have as a prime minister, as against what the PMP will put forward. Jamaica, you make your choice.
mm.